Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stacy Van Dyke. Blizzards and brutally cold temperatures are the theme for this Wednesday. Let's go to Hutch straight away with a first alert weather day forecast. Hutch.
Stacy, thanks so much. We are turning our attention away from the blizzard-like conditions now to the dangerous cold. The snow that fell across the valley pretty much well forecast. We had a lot of the 2 to 6 inch range that we were talking about. Fargo-Moorhead 3.5 inches. Solway, the big winners, that's not far from you in the Bemidji area just off to your west. 6 inches there. Alvarado 5 inches. And how about 5 inches in Nimrod, Almora, and East Grand Forks, picking up 5 1/2 inches of snow. Here's a look at a couple of more reports of snowfall across the region. As we head into the evening hours, though, our attention is changing to the cold that has been falling into the region throughout the day. A lot of 4-inch reports there. We do have a wind chill advisory for most of our Minnesota counties and the Red River Valley counties here, and a wind chill warning out to the west where it will be more biting. We'll see some wind chills down to 50 below zero tonight. Exposed skin can freeze in about 15 minutes. Here in the Red River Valley until 6 o'clock, we continue with a winter weather advisory for the blowing snow and reduced visibilities. We're darn near 40 below wind chills right now in Grand Forks. Make sure you put that survival kit in the trunk of your car. 39 below wind chill in Cavalier, 36 below in Devil's Lake, and Rolla 40 below. Now we have clouds over the area now. Winds continue to be gusty, and they will through most of the overnight, just not as strong as they were during the peak of the blizzards. Very cold air heading our way. It's going to stick around for a while. Stacy, I'll have hour-by-hour details on what you can expect coming up here in your full weather report in a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch. And make sure you have the Valley News Live Storm Team weather app so you can keep up with the weather anytime, anywhere. You'll get the latest forecast and conditions so you can plan your day. Just search VNL Weather in the App Store and download it for free. Postal Service officials are asking for your help keeping mailboxes, steps, and sidewalks clear of snow and ice. They want letter carriers to be able to do their jobs as safely and efficiently as possible. They're asking that you clear snow from curbside mailboxes so mail trucks can get in and out easily without backing up, and keep your overhangs clear of snow and ice. Confusion in West Fargo this morning. West Fargo public school officials decided to cancel classes just half an hour before elementary schools were supposed to start. Buses had already started picking up students by the time the cancellation was announced. In an email to parents, school officials said bus drivers were asked to finish their routes to make sure no student was left waiting outside. Parents were then told to pick their students up at school immediately. We'll have the story of how that impacted parents tonight on Valley News Live at 6. If you were planning on flying out of Fargo or Minneapolis today, you've likely seen your flight delayed or canceled. In Fargo, the majority of early afternoon and evening flights to and from Hector International Airport have been delayed or canceled. Travelers tell us they're experiencing hours-long waits on hold, with airlines trying to reschedule their flights and even higher ticket prices. In Minneapolis, about a dozen afternoon flights were delayed or canceled, but with cancellations at airports across the country and a backlog of travelers still heading home from the holidays, seats are very limited. Before you head to the airport, you can check your flight status online with your airport or your airline. New for you at 4, Jamestown police made a big arrest today, seizing 3.5 ounces of meth, $1,000 and other evidence during the arrest of a Montpelier man. Just before 10 a.m., an officer attempted to pull over the man suspected of drug activity, but he wouldn't stop. The suspect finally parked the vehicle and ran, but officers were able to arrest him. The suspect was identified as 45-year-old Jimmy Dale Cox. He was arrested on suspicion of fleeing, aggravated reckless endangerment, possession with intent to deliver, and possession of paraphernalia. He's being held at Stutzman County Correctional Facility where he awaits formal charges. Bloomington police have arrested a second person in connection to the New Year's Eve shooting at the Mall of America. According to police, an 18-year-old from St. Paul was taken into custody and booked for first-degree assault. They believe he's the person who fired the gun in the mall on December 31st, injuring 2 people. A 19-year-old was arrested Sunday on aiding and abetting charges in connection with that shooting. During today's White House COVID briefing, a COVID response coordinator emphasized the number of tools the U.S. has in fighting COVID-19 and how important it is for children to remain in school. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky shared the latest on the Omicron and Delta variants and reiterated the importance of vaccines and boosters. And Dr. Fauci reminded everyone, even though Omicron has less severe symptoms, now is not the time to become complacent.
About 96% of schools are open. Parents want schools open, and experts are clear that in-person learning is best for kids' physical and mental health and for their education.
We now estimate that Omicron represents about 95% of cases in the country, and Delta represents the remaining 5% of the cases.
Don't take this as a signal that we can pull back from the recommendations about the need for vaccination, for boostering, for wearing masks, and all the other CDC recommendations.
The experts say while Omicron appears to be less severe than Delta, more children are being hospitalized, mostly among the unvaccinated. Homeland Security, the FBI, and Capitol Police are warning that extremists might take advantage of the upcoming anniversary of the January 6th storming of the Capitol. Security is being beefed up around the Capitol, and a hearing called by Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar aims to ensure that an attack like that doesn't happen again as lawmakers push for accountability for those involved.
We believe in the peaceful transition of democracy. That angry mob that invaded the Capitol, that was against the law. And when people break the law, they have to be held accountable.
Senator Klobuchar is the chair of the Senate Rules Committee, which is holding the hearing to review Capitol security. Since the attack, there is new funding for Capitol Police and new security leadership. Among the more than 700 charged in the attack, 4 are members of the Westbury family from Lindstrom, Minnesota. An Iowa man and his Minnesota son have pleaded guilty to civil disorder charges tied to last year's Capitol riot. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey is looking ahead to a new year and making plans to fight violent crime. Earlier today, he joined Deputy Minneapolis Police Chief Amelia Huffman to say the city is taking steps to battle the uptick in crime. Frey didn't mince words when he highlighted the need for everyone to work together to end the violence.
The violent and criminal conduct that we have seen in Minneapolis and surrounding cities throughout the last several months is garbage. Now, I can stand up here and tell you, and many will, that this is a national trend, that every single major city in the entire country is seeing an uptick in violent crime, in shootings, carjackings, home invasions, and that's true. But who cares? You live in this city, and we are responsible to making sure that we are doing everything possible to preventing this kind of violent and criminal conduct and holding perpetrators accountable.
The differences between Americans seems to be growing and getting more personal. So how do you disagree about everything? CBS News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John LaPook went looking for an answer in his report on unifying America.
As our country struggles for ways to bring people together, the word empathy seems to be everywhere.
It's trying to see things from inside their world.
UC Berkeley professor Dr. Jody Halpern has been studying empathy for 3 decades.
You know you're having empathy when you find yourself listening in a way that makes you feel them as a human being.
Patients who say their doctors are empathetic are more likely to follow their advice. That's why medical schools are teaching empathy as a core skill. At NYU Langone Health, where I'm a professor of medicine, our Empathy Project produces short films to teach clinicians to be more competent by practicing empathy.
How do you pronounce that?
It's Wollagam.
Our latest focuses on how difficult it can be for a black woman to be seen and heard.
If you really want to empathize, you have to try and imagine how the world sees her and how she assumes the world sees her.
The number one thing about empathy is don't project your experience onto other people.
During reconciliation efforts after international conflicts, empathy has helped people recognize their shared humanity.
So how might empathy be used as a tool for reconciliation right here in the United States?
Nobody feels as good about living in this country with the fragmentation and conflict. Empathic curiosity begins with, you don't have to see it my way. What do you need to rebuild?
And after asking those questions, listening with empathy. Dr. John LaPook, CBS News, New York.
The upcoming Grammy Awards have been postponed due to COVID-19. The ceremony was scheduled for January 31st in Los Angeles with a live audience, but organizers say there are too many risks due to the Omicron variant. No new date has been announced.